We've had lions and now we have peacocks represented on the grid, and to accompany the different sponsors, we'll have a look later, I'm sure, at one of the lions from one of the local casinos. There's Uga Ugachuku then, the man on pole position. The car that he drives is run by the very successful R-Ace GP team, and having won the qualifying race yesterday, he starts ahead of this man, Oliver Goethe, on that front row.
And Oliver Goethe, if you look back at the last 4 days, one of the most unusual things that has taken place is the unexpected explosion of fire extinguishant inside the cockpit of the car in qualifying. Next is Noel Leon, showing great pace over the course of the last few days. He's trying to get in the zone and still having a smile for the cameras as well. Everybody wants to be part of this because they know that this is a bit of motorsport history.
31 next on the grid is Freddie Slater, who came here last year as a very highly rated F4 champion, and had a mechanical problem in the course of the F4 race. He's desperately keen to come back and go even better in more powerful machinery this year. Enzo Deligny next on the grid. Enzo Deligny, who has made his Macau debut this weekend after racing to 8th place in the early season FR Middle East Championship. Other drivers about to clamber on board, including their Matteo De Palo, who actually has had a pretty impressive weekend, in as much as he's just quietly and understatedly got on with the job and not drawn attention to himself for the wrong reasons, but has just got progressively quicker and quicker. 17th in FR in Europe. There is James Wharton, the runner-up this year in the European Championship, the Australian driver, leaning against the wall. He's a Formula 4 UAE champion, Australian karting champion. Put himself in the walls earlier on in the weekend, but he could be one to watch to make some progress if we have a race that runs clean without too many interruptions. And Rashid Al-Daheri there, double winner at the start of the year in the Formula 4 UAE Championship, and he's also raced in the Italian Series this year as well.
Emile Gilter at the wheel of the number 17 car, 17 years old, 7th in the FR Euro Championship this year, and it is remarkable to just have a look at the drivers and see how relaxed, how smiley they are before this race, because the pressure is very much on.
Dino Beganovic will be a man to watch as well. He should have been higher up the grid, really, but he was involved in somebody else's accident in the dry qualifying session, so the the Swedish driver, back for another crack. He's been racing in Formula 3 this year, but he wants to win this, so he's sort of stepped back down to FR machinery, if you like, or back across, because he was the European champion in these sorts of cars 2 years ago. Teofil nailed yesterday, was rather nailed and fired up the escape road by Cooper Webster, who got a 5-second penalty for his pain, so he's a man to watch. There is Jin Nakamura, whose car also suffered damage earlier on in the weekend after he was hit by James Wharton. He'd slowed, and James rather misjudged the speed. Alex Dunn yesterday had what we thought was a really good opportunistic overtaking manoeuvre when he was given a one-place grid drop for it, because he was deemed to have been overtaking while a yellow flag was out. It was a car that had gone up the escape road. One car slowed, slightly nervous of where the car would appear. Alex gained place and then was given a one-place grid drop, so had to therefore hand it back. Valerio Rinicella set to get on board. He's been racing in FR in Europe and the Middle East this year, and there is Cooper Webster. 5-second penalty to yesterday's race time. That's dropped him down the order a little bit. The reigning Indian and Australian F4 champion. And Cooper Webster, certainly a man to watch. He's been showing good speed this weekend. The formation lap 11.5 minutes away as the rest of the drivers start to get on board. Rintaro Sato next on the grid, 16th. This makes us feel old, Alan, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Takuma Sato, a winner here, and also Rintaro's father is here this weekend. He's been offering advice, but his father is a winner around the streets of Macau.
Thiago Rodriguez was here last year in F4, gets on board the car and settles himself in for the Evans GP team. Mitch Evans of Formula E fame. The last few drivers setting themselves ready, including Jet Bowling, who had quite a sizable accident on Thursday, but thankfully in his Macau debut good to go, and will be one to watch. He's been chipping away bit by bit and working his way nearer to the front. There is Kanato Lee, who is another driver that we've been used to seeing in the UK, runs under a British licence, Kanato Lee. And then it's going to be Kai Darianani next on the grid, somebody else that has been doing a lot of his early racing in the UK. Sun breaking through as well now, so temperature's getting warmer. Any last damp patches soon to dissipate, I think. There is Kai Darianani, getting the whole team with him for the photograph. Darianani then starting 20th on the grid. 21st there, Rikuta Kobayashi in the Tom's Formula entry. Tom's, as a team, won this 5 times before. Pointed the right way for the cameras, and a thumbs up and a wave. And then over his shoulder is Lu Ruqi, who had an accident on Thursday, did a bit of damage to the front of the car and has sort of been playing catch-up ever since. Drivers now being told to get on board. We've had that 10-minute board, so it's now time to get the earpieces in, get the balaclavas on. Lu Ruqi for PHM Racing gets ready to go. There also Alexander Alcázava, who's down away racing in Lamborghini Super Trofeo in Europe this weekend. So Alexander comes to make his Macau debut. Wished well, and Balaclava to go on. He's had a few trips up the escape road, but the pace has been good already. In the car is Mattia Colnaghi, ready to go. Colnaghi suffered a bit of damage yesterday, hence he dropped back, but he finds himself on the grid ahead of Soto Ogawa, who will be next. And there, Ogawa has had an engine change after damage in yesterday's race, and so too has the man that is going to be 26th on the grid, Tuka Tappanen, who won the FR Middle East Championship at the start of the year, and was also third in the FR Europe Championship. There he is. Tuka Tappanen had an accident early on in the qualifying, and then yesterday also he was involved in the same accident as Ogawa, so an engine change for him. He is a man that really we expected far greater things from, and the last driver on the grid, Mari Boyer, who was black flagged from yesterday's race because rather than the car being pushed into the pit lane, a mechanic went to it with a slave battery and jump started it, and that was a no-no, so the car was black flagged. So inevitably, Alan, we've touched on this a bit over the weekend, reputations are made and broken, but we've got drivers in a sense out of position, some further up the order than you might have expected and some much further down.
But as so many drivers have told us this year and every year, anything can happen at Macau.
True.
And would you believe we arrived here with over the whole of the circuit, a huge black cloud which poured down rain on the circuit this morning, and now beautiful sunshine to welcome the Macau Grand Prix for the 71st running. Your grid
has Ugo Ugochukwu on pole position from Oliver Goethe and Noel Leon third. The Brit Freddie Slater fourth from Enzo Deligny and Matteo De Paolo rounds out the top 6. Australian James Wharton is ahead of Rashid Al-Daheri, Evan Gilter and Dino Meganovic, one to watch. Meganovic from 10th. 11th is Teofan Nail from Jin Nakamura and Alex Dunn, who got that grid drop after contact yesterday after a yellow flag infringement. 14th, Valerio Rinicella ahead of Cooper Webster, and then it is Rintaro Sato. Next on the grid, Thiago Rodriguez ahead of Jet Bowling. Kanato Lee is ahead of Kai Darianani and Rikuta Kobayashi. Ruchi Lee from Alexander Alcázava next, and then it is going to be Matteo Colnaghi, Soto Ogawa, Tuka Tappanen and Mari Boyer to round out the grid. Time seems to have absolutely flown by today. We are only now just over 6 minutes away from the cars being released onto the formation lap for the 71st Macau Grand Prix, for the first ever FIA FR World Cup race. And finally, for about the first time since we've been here, the sun has broken through, and this is feeling a lot more Macau because the umbrellas now are being used to get rid of the sun and the heat, and the smiles are back.
They most certainly are. An expectant crowd ahead of this race, and this is the bit that the drivers can do what is familiar. They get themselves in the cockpit of the car, the earpieces are in, they can pretty much write off everything that's happening around the car as the huge amount of people are invited to leave the grid and make their way to wherever they are going to enjoy the race. It could be down in the garages, it could be in the paddock, it could be in the grandstands, but the drivers are now very close to being alone at the cockpit of the car.
And the start will be behind the safety car. So even though the road is almost dry, and they're all on, as far as I can see from the window, on slick tyres, they're going to be started behind the safety car just to err on the side of caution, because there are still a few damp patches around. So safety car start. And that means that as they leave the grid, the race will be underway.
I'm glad we got that notification, actually, because I was going to say this is potentially the first race that we've had today that did not start behind the safety car. However, we had sessions earlier on this year for these cars where there were multiple stoppages. So the idea of keeping things as neat and tidy and as safe as is absolutely possible are pretty much paramount on the minds of everyone in race control. So to keep it neat and tidy and safe, the race will start behind the safety car.
So that means that there are fewer opportunities to gain ground off the grid, but on the release of the cars, it will still be fascinating on the run down to Mandarin, to Lisboa, turns 2 and 3. The grid is now being cleared. We're into the final 5 minutes. The course vehicles that have done their reconnaissance lap and have given the information back to race control, perhaps to help with that decision, they've arrived back in the pit lane as well. And so it seems odd, doesn't it, in the sunshine to be having a safety car start, but there are still bits in will still be wet, I guess.
Yeah, really damp. And when we just enjoyed the race that preceded this, which was for the more local drivers in GT machinery, the GT4 race, you could see, although there was a very definite dry line right the way around the circuit, if you went offline, so i.e. if you were having a look to make an overtaking manoeuvre, potentially you could meet a puddle.
There's the pole position driver then, Ugo Ugochukwu on pole for RSGP. And that pole position is okay in a sense because he was quickest in qualifying, but because he stayed ahead in the qualifying race yesterday, which determines the grid for the Grand Prix itself. And over his shoulder, Oliver Goethe in the #1 Red Bull liveried car from the MP Motorsport stable. He was a little bit slow on the safety car restarts yesterday, and for a safety car start, Oliver Goethe knows he's going to have to be on his toes today.
And I noticed him over in the media building at the end of yesterday, happy to pose for photographs. There were lots of people that wanted to have a little moment with Oliver and have a photograph, and he was very happy to stop and chat to people. It was a great scene. This is some time after the end of the race as well.
Just going back to this safety car start, it's not necessarily for the track all the way around, it's actually for the grid. Because the racing line is drier than the non-racing line, yeah. And that means that some people would be starting on a wet patch, and therefore it's under the heading of sporting equity, which is understandable.
Understood,
so,
yeah,
fair play, get that, thumbs up, we understand. And a good call in that respect from race control. It's not the fact that the patches are around the circuit, it's on the grid, because obviously if you're starting on the wet and others are on the dry, then you're massively compromised, aren't you?
Total sense, yeah. So as all of a sudden we are left with just the drivers and the cars, those that will do battle for their name on the trophy, that is the Macau Grand Prix trophy. And as we pan down the grid, it is the first time that the drivers are alone with machine to get this race underway. The FIA FR World Cup, the first time these cars have competed at Macau around the demanding and testing streets of Macau. 6.1 kilometre circuit, and everything will unfold over the next half an hour. You can feel the tension, can't you?
You can, absolutely. And there is something quite special about being on the grid, as you know, and particularly for this race, those last engineers will be feeling the tension as well. Because once they fired up the engines, there's nothing more they can do. There might be a sort of few words of good luck exchange between driver and engineer, but after that it is all down to the man in the cockpit. The teams have worked so hard to prepare, in some cases rebuild cars, engine changes, suspension adjustments and repairs as well after some of the accidents. It's been a busy few days. The last activity of the weekend, the last activity of the year at Macau for the Grand Prix is about to be upon us. We've had some amazing races, some great names have won this, or names that have gone on to become greats of the sport, and somebody else is about to put themselves in the annals of history by winning the Macau Grand Prix. Now, don't forget, no formation lap, so Once that safety car moves from the grid, the race is on.
And the scurry by the team members to leave the grid and leave the drivers alone. Man and machine about to do battle around the streets of Macau. And more normally for Macau, it is under sunshine and blue skies.
Everyday life continuing in the background, but for the moment, the eyes of the motorsport world are upon Macau as the fans in the grandstand opposite the grid await the start of the race, which will be any moment. The race officials on the gantry with the boards with the instructions for the countdown. The safety car is ready to go. And we're just about 2 seconds or so away from the nod being given for it to blast away, which it does. The Macau Grand Prix is underway with a safety car start. And one car reluctant to get away, which was Noah Leon, almost mirroring what happened to teammate Mario Boyer yesterday, but he was able to salvage that, kick-started as it were. So everybody is moving. We're under yellow flag conditions, which means no overtaking. You've got to remain in that order, which was the grid formation. But let us hope that it's only going to be one lap behind the safety car and we can have as many racing laps as possible.
So the BMW safety car leads the field around the Grand Prix for 2024 is effectively underway now. And Ugo leading the field around. He was exceptional yesterday that he was able to get heat into the tyres for safety car restarts so effectively, and it paid off so well. He needs to do exactly the same again, and this way of starting the race behind the safety car does level things out, doesn't it? It makes it a lot more equal for the whole of the field. They head down towards Lisboa. Next time they come upon Lisboa, we'll get one of those iconic shots of the hustling and bustling for position early on in the race. For now, it's line astern. It's single file as they head up towards San Francisco.
There are still 1 or 2 damp patches around the circuit, but they won't be there for much longer, that is for sure. So on Pirelli slick tyres, then the cars turn their way through the gear circuits, and Ugo Ugochukwu leads, Oliver Goethe leads Noah Lay on the top 3 from the grid. And very shortly then they will start to work their way back towards the final third of the lap, and we'll await to see when the race director, Rui Marquez, who is going to be the new Formula 1 race director from next weekend onwards, will be prepared to let them go. And it's this lap, safety car in this lap. Here in Macau, we are almost ready to go racing. The lights will be extinguished, and then it is going to be Ugo Ugochukwu to lead the field around. Oliver Goethe, Noah Leon, Freddie Slater, Enzo Dellini, Matteo De Paolo, that top 6.
Threading their way around this part of the circuit, weaving the cars to get the heat into the tyres. They will know that the safety car will be in this lap, and they'll be racing head-to-head for the first lap of proper racing after getting things underway behind the safety car. And, yep, the nerves dissipate now because they've just got to get on with the job. They know what they've got to do. They've been racing, for many of them, in multiple championships around the world. Not necessarily in this kind of car, not necessarily in an FR car, but many of them have. So the car is familiar, and now the circuit is familiar as well, having endured just about every possible track condition around the streets of Macau over the last 3.5 days. Now they've got pretty much predominantly a dry circuit.
Safety car lights will be extinguished. It will peel into the pit lane. Ugo Ugochukwu then getting the final bit of warmth into the tyres with Oliver Goethe behind him. Oliver yesterday on the restart of the qualifying race was caught napping a little bit here, and last time they had a situation like this, Ugochukwu went early. He's done it again, but Goethe goes with him, and the gap isn't quite as great. Ugochukwu is going to lead then as they come out of the right-hander of Fisherman's. The green flag is ready, and when they come out of our bend, the Macau Grand Prix will be go.
It will. Here we go then. We get the 2024 Macau Grand Prix underway. The green flag is waved on the start-finish gantry, and already Ugo has made the best of it. After a safety car start, he excelled yesterday. He went early. He's done exactly the same again.
So Ugachuku leads, Goethe leads Leon, then Freddie Slater in the wheel tracks, thinking about going to the outside line, and he is going to go look in the red and white Theodore car, the Prema ran entry. Freddie Slater to the outside, had to back out of it. No, Leon stays ahead of him. This is an important part of the racetrack because you can get a tow. This is an ideal place to try to gain ground if you are near enough. Ugachuku leads down towards Lisboa, effort made on Denini on the inside to Palo, and on the outside into the wall, and Mayhem is going to break out. That's James Wharton. James Wharton, the Australian, in the wall. Others tangle with him. Track blockage. They all go piling in. And the Macau Grand Prix did not last for very long. That's going to be the safety car at the very least.
The gear circuit has bitten once again, and it is just a centimetre that causes this kind of track blockage. Not totally blocked. Some of them managed to thread their way through. Some can reverse and get going again, and that's Kobayashi, who has been able to reverse out of the situation and is being invited by the marshals to get going if you can. And the question is the front of that car badly damaged, or can it reverse up and get going and complete this race without needing to come into pit lane? But Lisboa bites again.
Does it ever? So we've certainly lost James Wharton. We've certainly lost Evan Gilter. We'll unravel the others. I think Thiago Rodriguez possibly. So have a look. The white car of Matteo De Palo has a look, but it's Wharton that doesn't have the room. He goes into the barrier, then he gets collected by others, and they just eventually go piling in. But the lucky can go through on the inside and a red flag. The race is being suspended then. So the cars will come down pit lane. Look from another angle. You see Walker bounce into the way. The leader's got away with it. This is Dino Beganovic, who is experienced around here. He turns the corner and there he just misses Wharton's car on the left-hand side.
Wow, goodness me, that was close. Split-second decisions by these drivers, and they are used to it. You have to make those decisions and make them very, very quickly indeed. And that was a near escape, wasn't it? Incredible also, let's point it out, how quickly we have been able already today to clear things up down at Lisboa and get racing back underway without the necessity to hold up proceedings for too long. That is Evan Gilter's car, which is being pushed back by numerous marshals.
And the crane being brought into play. See, they're just held by the official to see whether they can push it or whether they need to lift it. So race suspension, the cars will come down the pit lane and anticipate around about 10 minutes of an interruption here. So it's ready to give the teams a time that they can prepare to and work to and have by way of expectation. Even coming down the pit lane, look, drivers trying to avoid the puddles. They don't want to lose too much of the temperature and get those tyres too damp, but the pit lane is still, understandably, a damp place. So James Wharton's car is number 16, the one that's been pushed into the barriers. 88 Kai Darianani's miserable weekend has got no better. Who else did we lose out of all of that? Thiago Rodriguez was delayed. Jet Bowling, I think, is the other blue car in there. Kanato Lee picked up damage as well. So now, look at that, 2 in 1 go being lifted. Very, very speedy effort, this, by the marshals to get the track clear as soon as possible.
We saw it earlier on, didn't we? It took 1 lap under a safety car to get multiple cars, which completely blocked the circuit down at Lisboa, to get them all out of the way. You couldn't believe it when the camera got back to Lisboa and there were no cars. A minute ago, the track was completely blocked. Very impressive. So too was Ugo. That start was perfect, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed. It's a shame in a way we didn't see a grid start, but we know the reasons for it. There's another one that has stopped on that lap, possibly with damage. Is that Rintaro Sato, possibly? I'm just trying to work out, because I don't think he's made it through the last sector, so possibly after the Melco hairpin, Sato has got a problem. It is indeed Rintaro Sato, and he has come to a halt, so that car is going to need a moving.
It is, yeah, and climbing out the car. I got the feeling he was going through various procedures inside the cockpit of the car to get the car fired up once again, but they have amounted to nothing, and unfortunately having to leap out of the car now. So very sad end to a debut at Macau. See how quick that is to clear up the cars and popped them in quite an expensive car park on the inside of Lisboa.
And on the far right, people outside the circuit in the parade of shops suddenly see a racing car heading towards them, because it does remind you that normal life continues. Right, so there is Taro Sato. The recovery vehicle arrives to take his car to a safer place. And with the road almost clear, we can then think about the resumption of the Macau Grand Prix. So this is what triggered it all. It was Ugo Ugochukwu in the lead from Oliver Goethe, Noah Leon, Freddie Slater fourth, Enzo Dellini defended fifth from DeParlo. Wharton on the outside just didn't quite have enough room. He was clipped by Evan Gilter, and then others went charging into the melee. One or two on the inside were able to see what was coming, slow right down, and just wriggle their way through. How did Alex Darwin see it? Let's go on board and find out. Out of Reservoir Bend, down towards the fast right of Mandarin. Foot nailed to the boards here. Bit of a lift for Mandarin, back on the throttle. This is brave. Down through the gears. Hug the inside. Car ahead, go to the outside. Try and get as much room around the corner. And contact. I think Dunn got caught up in that. Was possibly just tipped into the air. Rode over somebody's wheel. Further back, from penultimate on the grid, took a tapper and saw this.
No problem. Lots of places made up.
Absolutely.
All in one go.
All of a sudden being at the very back was an advantage
A real advantage, yeah. Great to get those on-board shots and to see what it is from the driver's point of view, those split-second decisions that you have to take, sometimes paying off, sometimes nowhere to go at all.
Dino Bogdanovic then up into 9th place now, gaining a place on that first lap. But there's a face that says it all. Big disappointment for some drivers out of the race already. And when you consider that you get 2 qualifying, 2 practice sessions, 2 races on the timetable, for many, because of the nature of the circuit and the number of incidents, they get precious little running around this circuit.
Very little indeed. The way things are these days for young drivers, they will know the circuit so very, very well as far as the sim is concerned, but actually seat time is a little bit different. Looking in at Noel Leon, who had that problem when the cars went off the grid.
It's another replay from on board with Bogdanovic. Big twitch, big slide going through the right-hander Mandarin. Right, going down towards Lisboa, there might be contact. Let's just listen in, see if we can hear whether Bogdanovic gets collected. Yeah, I think he did. He was hit from the back, wasn't he? That's what turned him sideways. It wasn't that he was necessarily trying to avoid Wharton, although he had to. But I think the opposite lock was applied because he got a tap in the back of the car. Number 20 there, with possibly a little bit of damage to Jin Nakamura's car being looked at. So we await a restart time. A few of the teams with a little bit of repair work to do, maybe.
Yeah, and it is such a hive of activity when these stoppages happen, and the teams immediately go into action to get the cars turned around and get them back to race fit, race ready, and they'll be hoping that the gap that they have is a little longer perhaps, but the trackside of marshals, the workers, are able to clear things very, very quickly. And look in at Freddie Slater underneath the umbrella, pretty much for the first time, to keep cool and keep shielded from the sunshine.
Road's clear, so hopefully now we can move towards getting the race back underway. Cranes hover in readiness of their next necessity. Crane crews have been busy down there. Business has been picking up over the weekend. And number 2, you can see, which is Valerio Rinicella's car in the pit lane with the survivors, ready to be released. So we are not yet being told a restart time. The road is clear, I think, unless Sato's car still needs to be brought back. Then hopefully we can get things back underway. It'll be another safety car starts, of course, the safety car will bring them out of the pit lane back onto the circuit.
Yeah, and Sato's car may take a little while longer because presumably that's going to be on a recovery vehicle with lifting equipment as well, if required. So not on one of the cars. Oh, very good. So we're hearing that that car is cleared from the circuit. So it's not going to be too long down in pit lane. That's good news. Maybe not good news for some of the teams that are working to repair the cars, but good news for us race fans trackside.
So the drivers stay, of course, in the cars in most cases, but those that are out of the race have to just survey the damage now, including there you just saw in the background Jet Bowling's car. Poor old Jet's been in the wars quite a lot this weekend, and it's so disappointing when you've made the commitment to come from the other side of the world for so little mileage.
And it's all the build-up, isn't it? It's a 4-day meeting. Most of the drivers, if not all of them, will have not really experienced a 4-day meeting, a day of free practice, a day of qualifying, every possible weather condition as well. And it all builds to this. And when it finishes before you've completed one lap, the disappointment is huge. I suppose the only solace that they can seek is the fact that there are many other names in the history of the Macau Grand Prix that have stood the other side, the wrong side of the barrier, and watched the race unfold. And
there's a driver, James Wharton, who came with big aspirations, a big reputation, but it's been a tough weekend for the Australian. He's been racing in the European Series predominantly, also raced in GB3 at Silverstone and FIA F3 at the British Grand Prix weekend. Mathieu Colnagi's car in the pit road. So the track clear, as far as we can tell, but we're still under this race suspension for the next few minutes. Whether there's something else that race control have spotted and is unhappy with.
Potentially there is. There was no one working down at Lisboa on the circuit or the track furniture, was there? The tyre stacks on the outside of the wall that took a bit of a bump. The number 6 car took a tap and car. He's great speed around the gear circuit here at Macau, and this may well be an opportunity for plenty of paces to be made up in the Grand Prix.
Laps permitting. There's an hour time slot for the Grand Prix. Of course, the longer they sit motionless in the pit lane, the closer to the end of that hour time slot they will get. But fingers crossed. And the fans being patient, but thinking hopefully that the cars will be on track very shortly. Find themselves in the crowd and have a wave though.
To keep them happy, they see themselves on the television screen. Race will be resumed at 57, so 3:57 local time. It is 3:46 local time.
So 10 minutes and a bit.
So a little bit more time required before we get the race back underway. There must be something that we can't see around the circuit.
I think it's partly though that when you are dealing under an FIA rule book, you have to do a 10-minute countdown as you would on the grid, rather than just restart on short notice. So once everybody is happy that the track is clear, then you can start that countdown of approx 10 minutes. And it will be, of course, a safety car restart, because the safety car will bring them out of the pit lane. First time we've seen FR machinery around here, Formula 3 style cars, but still serious bits of kit. 255 kilometers an hour. They can do 0 to 100 from a standing start in 3.3 seconds. 267 horsepower, and these 2-litre Alfa Romeo badged Autotecnica Motori engines in the back this weekend.
For a couple of years, we had the honour of the car for the Macau Grand Prix being a Formula 4 car, and that invited some real star drivers on the very first step of their car racing single-seater career to shine here, and they equipped themselves incredibly well, didn't they, the F4 cars and drivers, and to pay them back and to say thank you very much for that. They were offered a headline first weekend of a 2-weekender last year to celebrate the 70th Macau Grand Prix. They raced as the headline single-seater race on the first weekend to celebrate 70 years of the Macau Grand Prix, and then it was back to the Formula 3 cars in the second year. So it gets mixed up now at Macau. We have a variety of machinery all competing, and this is great to have FR cars here at Macau, and to welcome drivers from championships all over the world is very much what the spirit of the Macau Grand Prix has always been about.
Indeed so. The American driver Ugo Ugochukwu in the lead as we stand. And the last time we had an American winner, go back to 1981. In that era, it was Formula Atlantic. It was a bit of a sort of catch-all single-seater championship. Formula Atlantic cars ran on one side of the world. They were Formula Pacific badged on the other. But Bob Earl, the American, won, denying Jeff Lees 3 in a row. Roberto Moreno the year after. But then for 1983 onwards, the late, great Barry Bland got involved with the Macau organisers and made Formula 3 the category of choice, and that really was what made the event take off, wasn't it, for so many years?
It really did. And just looking down the names that have won this Macau Grand Prix, it is a who's who of motorsport greats over the years. To pick out just a couple: Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, and many others besides, including Takuma Sato in 2001. This race really does attract the very best drivers on the planet. So, in the sunshine here at Macau, it's always peculiar to look over to the other side of the paddock and see normal life, people carriers, everything going on around the Grand Prix, taxis all doing their business, and they will be on this tarmac in just a couple of hours. It's an incredible thought, really, that once this stops being for another year, the race circuit, it is the normal hustle and bustle of an amazing part of the world. Macau is, if you've not done it, and you're thinking about having a bit of a trip and taking a bit of motorsport, have a look at how much it costs to get, wherever you are in the world, how much it costs to get to Macau, because it is well worth it. Nothing like it in the world.
And there's so much more to see than just a race. And of course, one of the features of the Grand Prix is that it takes Macau images around the world. The Macau you see in the daytime could be a different part of the world completely from that you see at night, when everywhere lights up, because big and bold and brash and bright, all the neon lights of the casinos, then it has a completely different feel again, doesn't it?
The joys of LED lighting,
yes,
and the colours that they bring to such a vibrant part of the world. Spot on cue.
You've just made that guy's day, Mr. Director, well done. Gosh, the fans keeping the spirits up as they wait for the resumption of the race. Also goes to show you how busy it is and how much of a family affair. Lots of fans, young and old. So everybody waves, everybody happy, and they're looking to the pit lane, the pit buildings, the permanent buildings of the Macau Grand Prix Committee on the outside of the circuit, overlooking the pit lane, or on top of the pit lane. Oliver Goethe then, currently second in the race. And now we're looking at a 5-minute countdown. So 5 minutes to go, we're being told from race control. Lots of people in the grandstand eagerly finding themselves. There you go. You wave and you video yourself waving, of yourself waving and videoing yourself wave. Yes.
It's such a happy place.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is.
It is such a happy place.
One or two people being a bit more vigorous than others. But right now, we're in neutral, and Ugo Ugochukwu is ready for the resumption. As I say, we've been educated into dropping the W, so we're learning fast. But Ugochukwu, Goethe and Leon, the palindromic Mexican, in third place, ready for the resumption of the race.
Ugo has made no mistakes over the course of the Macau weekend in 2024, and that is a very good way of ensuring success here at Macau. Mistakes, however small, can cost dearly, and Ugo, in his second year at Macau, has done everything absolutely right so far. And none of these spectators from around the world are in the least bit impatient to get things back underway. They are enjoying the atmosphere and everything about the Macau Grand Prix. This, everyone, is what this event is all about.
It is indeed. Happy, smiling faces, and looking forward to seeing racing cars back on track. The dignitaries haven't been waving quite so vigorously, but I think they are looking forward likewise to the resumption of the race, which is now about 4 minutes away, give or take. So it won't be long before engines fire once more. There's a 3-minute board indeed. So the safety car will lead them away, and you're familiar with this by now, I'm sure, but as soon as they leave the pit lane, the race is back on. There's no reforming on the grid. It's a race suspension, not stopping, but suspended. So we carry on where we left off, behind the safety car, which has refueled, I think, again, because it's been pretty busy today. And the BMW safety car has certainly been well advertised, that's for sure. Ugo Ugochukwu, race leader.
He's got these starts when the safety car peels off absolutely right so far. Oliver Goethe, second time of asking, was a little bit wiser to it. Let's see what happens this time, because Oliver Goethe, we know, has got massive speed this weekend. The car and the driver, the combination, very, very good indeed. If he can just get this start, if he can keep with Ugo, then we may well have a very, very evenly matched battle on our hands for the top step of the podium for the 2024 Macau Grand Prix.
So looking down to Ugo Ugochukwu. There's Oliver Goethe's display on the dash. Big N saying that he's in neutral, ready to put the car in gear once it's fired up, and make his way out of the pit lane. And that's in about 1.5 minutes time now, as we edge closer and closer to the resumption of the Macau Grand Prix. And let us hope that we can get through the rest of it without further drama. The drivers don't want it to be interrupted. We certainly don't. The fans certainly don't. Yes, on occasions, if there's an accident, it's inevitable. Of course, with it being an FIA race under the international regulations, you can't have marshals going trackside if the race is live, so you either have to stop it or at least put a safety car out so they can jump over. Even if it's only one car and it needs the crane and it's a sort of 10-second lift out of the way, you still have to go through that process to neutralise the race for them. But the 1-minute board is shown.
4 minutes to 4 local time here at Macau. A completely different Macau than 6 hours ago. This morning it was absolutely awash. It is now a dry circuit, little areas of dampness that you can see down there in the pit lane, but by and large we are looking at a very dry circuit, which when we arrived here at the circuit this morning we didn't think was possible. We wondered how much racing we would actually get here at Macau today. Well, the Macau sunshine has cheered things up. 32nd board being displayed down in pit lane. It is going to be a restart behind the safety car. Ugo is at the front of the field, and we are just seconds away from seeing the FR cars leaving pit lane here at Macau.
And it will be Ugo Ugochukwu who leads when the race resumes, which will happen now. Safety car conditions. The race is back on. Ugochukwu drives out of the pit lane. Oliver Goethe follows suit. No Leon, Freddie Slater behind.
So many of these young drivers early on in their career already attached to the driver development programs that the Formula One teams are running for young drivers, and Ugo has been associated with McLaren for a goodly time, certainly 2 years at very least, when he was racing in the UK, part of the British F4 Championship, also certified by the FIA. And we are, of course, not only racing for the Macau Grand Prix title, but also the FIA FR World Cup.
First running thereof, isn't it?
It is, indeed, as the drivers weave the cars, getting heat into the tyres as early as possible. This is a great part of the circuit to do it as well, because, as you can see, 2 lanes in normal life around Macau, going each way, and it's a wide bit of tarmac, so you can carefully weave the car from side to side. I say carefully, because you can see there from the cockpit of Dino Boganovic's car, if you weave the car too wide, then you are going to pick up a little bit of water, and that's going to serve the opposite operation of getting heat into the tyres. That's going to cool them down, so you've got to be careful here.
True enough. So what we also now are awaiting is confirmation of whether it's 1 lap or 2 behind the safety car. It was, of course, just 1 from the grid, wasn't it? So hopefully we can get away with just 1 this time around as well. And over the years, Lisboa has very much become, hasn't it, the pinch point of the lap. And let us hope they all survive it next time around. You kind of feel the race have a sigh of relief that, okay, that's the most challenging bit done. They've survived it. Now maybe we can get into a rhythm.
And that's what we want to see when there is no interruption and they can actually do lap after lap after lap what they know how to do. They know how to do it now. And now we get the indication the safety car will be in this lap. Jolly good news. We'll get the Grand Prix back underway in earnest.
And Dino Beganovic will be looking trying to gain ground against Teofile Niall as the cars restart the race. Pirelli slicks for everybody, and the drivers busily trying to get those up to temperature. We talk about Lisboa being that pinch point. You'll see from the onboard just how hard it is to judge that corner. You just basically turn through a gap in the barrier and you don't know really what's around the corner. That's why Macau is such a great challenge. Some drivers are fazed by it, some absolutely love it, but if you win around here, it proves you're good, no question about it. And the safety car will be in at the end of this third lap of the Grand Prix.
Let's keep an eye on Ugo at the front of the field. He has been exemplary on these starts thus far at Macau this year in 2024, and Oliver Goethe needs to be a little bit closer to the back of Ugo's car when they get towards the final stage of this heat cycle to get as much heat into the tyres as is absolutely possible. Ugo Ugochukwu at the front of the field, Oliver Goethe in second, and Ugo controls the pace, weaves the car, just a couple of final weaves to get that final bit of temperature, and he's going to go.
Goes relatively early once again. Oliver Goethe tries to stay with him as they come then now down towards our bend. Don't forget the race is not yet officially on until they get to the timing line, until they take the green flag. Then they can really push, then they can overtake. And now as they come up towards the timing line, the Macau Grand Prix is go, go, go. It is going to be Ugo Ugochukwu that leads, Oliver Goethe second, and the gap between them is already 9/10 of a second. That's what Goethe was going to try and make up on the way towards Lisboa. But look third, Noah Leon ahead of Freddie Slater, ahead of Enzo Deligny. They are close, and that could change on the run down towards Lisboa this time. Leon getting a tow from Goethe, second, third, fourth, absolutely together. Ugochukwu is getting away up front as they come down towards Lisboa. Leon in the pale blue car to the outside line, tries to go round the outside of Goethe. Last of the late breakers, Goethe turns in just ahead. And as they accelerate now, the other side of the corner, so far so good. They accelerate up the hill, but look, Ugochukwu getting away, and Beganovic losing places as he picks up damage maybe.
Once again, Ugo gets the perfect start, doesn't he? Gets the better of Oliver Goethe, and Oliver Goethe wasn't able to make up that space on track because he was so concerned that Noel Leon is right there. Now, when they went down towards Lisboa with Noel Leon on the outside line, I wondered if as they turned through the corner, Noel Leon was going to run out of space. That must have been very, very close to the tyre stack on the outside of the corner, but everyone through. That is very good news indeed.
It is indeed, although Goethe dropping back from Ugochukwu. They're in fourth place in the background. Freddie Slater, who's just dropped off the back slightly of Noah Leon. So Leon is looking racy as he goes after Goethe, heading through police up the hill now towards Moorish. But Ugochukwu looking oh so strong right now, isn't he? Trying to build the gap and doing this, don't forget, on cold tyres pretty much.
And this battle for second place is going to be exactly what Ugo would rather like, because they're going to be busy with each other. Noel Leon right on the tail of Oliver Goethe as they head up towards the no overtaking part of the circuit at the Melco hairpin. They all turn through, they all concertina up together, but when the power goes down, Ugo able to show there is a goodly advantage at the end of this first lap of racing, heading down towards the completion now of 4 laps. So Oliver Goethe has been able to put a bit of distance between himself and third place Noel Leon, and that is the first part of the plan to try and bring down the gap between himself and the race leader.
Yeah, because the move has to start now. You've got to be good through this section. Leon a little bit sideways there, and that understeer just costing him a fraction more time. So Goethe now going off in pursuit of Ugochukwu. The gap has gone up, safety car deployed, safety car on track. So we've got 1 racing lap in, but I'm afraid we've gone safety car, and that's going to bunch them all up again. So we've lost somebody somewhere towards the end of the lap. Now, hopefully the fact that it's a safety car rather than a suspension means it ain't quite so bad. It's not a multiple car drama, but straight away the drivers go back into tyre weave mode, and our fourth, if you like, intervention. We've had a safety car start, a red flag, a safety car restart, and now a safety car within 5 laps of racing.
When we've had these restarts after the safety car, Ugo has done exactly the same thing. It's a couple of little, really quite sharp movements of the car from side to side to get that last little bit of heat into the tyres, and then he goes. And every time, it's pretty early, and every time he's able to get the advantage over Oliver Goetze.
So we've got a car stranded at turn 15, we understand. So safety car conditions. Safety car, actually, I don't think has yet picked them up. It has not been released because they've just about gone past the pits before the safety car call came. That means that even if the car is moved on this lap, we are still going to have another lap because they've not yet got the safety car on track. You see what I mean? They've got to have that lap behind it. So it is a full safety car, not a virtual safety car, even though the safety car has not yet been released onto the circuit. Everyone has slowed down in readiness of it entering the track.
Nearly 35 minutes since this race got initially underway.
And there is the car in question, I think, behind your light panel. So you can see midway between Police and Moorish, there's a car up against the wall, and that needs moving. So this is why Tuukka Tappinen you're on board with. He turns through, and there is the car in question, bouncing off the barriers, slowing down as it goes up the hill, and 27, which is Lu Chi, the driver in question there.
So we found the car eventually. Well done to the television team for finding out the reason for this, because we were slightly perplexed as to where that might have been. Tricky to find, but with the aid of that onboard camera for Tuukka Tappinen, we're able to identify the car and the place as well. See how quickly they can get things back in race order and get that car collected and get things back in race-worthy condition around the streets of Macau. Wonder how many single-seater drivers over the years have watched longingly at these races year after year and wished that they could do what they do around the streets of Macau. I was in the process of saying earlier on that with the advent of simulators, they will have done, all of these drivers, you can be sure, will have done multiple miles of laps around this circuit. But there isn't anything like arriving here and seeing the barriers. When you, for example, when you walk the circuit, you go down to Lisboa, we see that familiar television camera angle looking down at the corner, an overtaking position. When you go down there and you walk and you look back up the circuit and you look to your left on the run towards San Francisco, you get the real proper idea of just how tight it is.
And the drivers now having a chance to take a breath, if you like, and go through behind the safety car this time. Dino Meganovic, 12, having lost a little bit of ground on that restart. There is the safety car on track. The good news, I suppose, about Lu Reixi's car is that it's between two escape roads. So once you've scrambled a recovery vehicle, there is a place to take it relatively swiftly off the track. But let's keep our fingers crossed it doesn't take too long as we run behind the safety car right now. But Ugo Ugochukwu, everything that's been thrown at him so far, he's swatted it aside, hasn't he?
Really has been absolutely superb. And the amount of miles, I would love to know. Be a great competition question, wouldn't it? How many miles has the safety car completed over the course of 4 days at Macau in the Grand Prix? It has been an exceptionally busy car, and I think with the aid of little dollies under the wheels and a bit of marshal power as well, we can get that car moving. And it's just rather unceremoniously dragged into place.
Yeah, and then as swiftly as off the circuit. And the marshal's doing that in double quick time. Safety car trying to go as slowly to give them as much time as possible, and yet as quickly as is possible, so it's safe for the cars behind, because the slower they go, the more likely they are to stall or lose tyre temperature and pressure and become dangerous on the restart. So it's a fine balance for the safety car crew.
And a word for the marshals as well. We've mentioned that it was torrential rain first thing this morning for the entirety of the morning as well. They will have been on post probably from about 6 o'clock this morning. They'd have had a little packed breakfast, and they would have grabbed a little bit of lunch as and when they could, but they have pretty much been back-to-back since things got underway on circuit this morning, which would have been at just gone 9 o'clock local time this morning, and they would have been on post from well before that. They are so efficient here at Macau. They do such a brilliant job with all of the challenges that are presented, and its numbers as well. There are a huge amount of marshals all the way around the circuit. Recovery vehicles, cranes, all in place. They do a superlative job year after year.
Absolutely right. Well, there is Liu Reishi's car still being retrieved, so it's not quite out of the way yet. They've had to stop the process while the cars come past. So Ugochukwu leads Goethe, Leon third, Slater fourth, Delini fifth, and DePaulo in sixth. Rashid Al-Nahari is seventh from Teofan Laal, Alex Dunn ninth, and Jin Nakamura in 10th position. But it'll be certainly one more lap behind the safety car. They come down towards Melco hairpin right now.
Long left-hander at Donna Maria, and that's the run towards the Melco hairpin. Single file during the race, as well as the safety car laps. And those little dollies were very, very helpful under the wheels of that car to get it moved out from tight up to the barrier as it was, and then the lift is possible. So now the weaving taking place once the circuit opens up a little bit more tarmac to get the temperature back into the tyres. Unique tyres for this weekend as well for the Macau Grand Prix, with little dragon logo forming part of the logo on the side of the tyre.
One more lap behind the safety car by the look of it. Lights are still flashing as it comes down towards our bend. Pedro Cuchero, the safety car driver, accelerates through, and Oliver Goethe, who we're having to think about how he can get on top of this effort of Ugochukwu. He's getting wise to the trick, but of course this is all part of it. You've got to second guess when the guy ahead of you goes.
He's had a lot of dress rehearsals, it's fair to say, and so far every one of them has gone the way of Ugo. He's been able to exact some perfect restarts in this race, but the key is a couple of little sharp wiggles to get the final bit of heat into the tyres, and then bang, straight away Ugo goes.
So down towards Lisboa they come, and one would hope this will be the last safety car lap, but we'll wait and see. We have got 9 laps remaining, so much of it has been done so far with safety car. What with the safety car start, the restart, the safety car period, and they climb the hill once again. Steep climb up San Francisco Hill.
And tight as well, oh so tight, with the wall, the barrier, everything gets pretty claustrophobic. Certainly when you go through a track walk, you realise just how imposing those barriers are, and the walls as well. It is an unforgiving circuit this here at Macau, and that is why drivers love to conquer it.
Absolutely right. And it looks as though Ugochukwu is going to take some stopping right now, because as we keep saying, everything that Oliver Goethe has tried, it has been repelled. Noah Leon will have another go at him on the restart as well. So in Goethe's situation, it's as much trying to repel Leon as go after the leader, isn't it? So he'll be on his toes, that's for sure. So will Freddie Slater, who would be very, very happy with the podium here. He's the man that runs in 4th place, and that's the man in 5th, number 5 indeed, Enzo Delini. Another of the Red Bull liveried cars for the Shanghai-born Enzo Delini. His father raced in the Volkswagen Polo Cup in China for a time. Safety car in this lap then, so we are going to go back racing, brackets woohoo, close brackets this time. We will be back in business, and it's take whatever for Goethe to try to go with Ugochukwu. If he can stay with him on the run up to the timing line, he's going to be nicely placed to attack on that first fast third down towards Lisboa, but it's easier said than done, because Ugochukwu has been the master of the restarts.
This is where the process starts, as the BMW safety car leads the field single file through the Melco hairpin, and the pace will increase on the run down towards the conclusion of the lap. Off goes the BMW. These final few wiggles for Ugo, and Oliver Goethe watching there just behind.
Ugochukwu goes, but has he managed to make as big a jump as previously? Probably he has, just about. Oliver Goethe sees that car disappear by about 2 lengths, but the green flag ready. We're going to be back running this time. Through our bend comes Ugochukwu. Behind him is Oliver Goethe. Behind him is Noel Leon. Goethe has certainly dropped Leon. Green flag waves. We're back racing at Macau. Ugochukwu leads over the line. Goethe second, Leon third, and it's game on behind, look, because now Matteo De Palo comes up to have a go at Enzo Deligny. But Ugochukwu is ahead as they make the run now down towards Mandarin. He goes one way and then the other to try to break the toe, off and up to Goethe.
Certainly Ugo got another very good start, but Goethe much better this time. He's allowed less distance between himself and the race leader, so that's going to make an interesting run down towards Lisboa, and this is going to be game on. Look how much pressure they're under, wiggling the cars under braking as they go into Lisboa. They're all safely through. Well, certainly the top 12 are, as they now climb up through San Francisco Hill, but this is game on.
Big lock-up from Matteo De Palo on the outside, but he made the corner. This is Dino Boganovic's view. That's Cooper Webster ahead. He's trying to find a way past as they make the run between the barriers, past the concrete wall. Really imposing section of the circuit, this. But up front, Ugochukwu is getting away straight off, pulls out 3/10 within the second sector, but Goethe was being able to pretty much stay with him on that first part of the lap. There's Slater fourth. Noah Leon was the one that had the big lock-up, wasn't it, as well? And he scrabbled into Lisboa. I feared for him in the escape road, but he got away with it. Deligny fifth. But there, Ugochukwu leads Goethe. Goethe needs to get away from Leon, get him out of his mind, and then he can concentrate on the American up the road.
I did wonder if that lock-up going into Lisboa from Leon was going to play into the hands of Goethe and able to pull a little bit further away and therefore concentrate on the gap between himself and the race leader. But Noel Leon is looking very, very pacey. Maybe the tyres aren't going to be in the best of conditions after that lock-up, but they go around Donna Maria now, up towards the Melco hairpin they go. And that is the car in second place, closing on the back of the leader. They all concertina up as they go through the Melco hairpin, on board with Alex Dunn once again. Get some fantastic pictures from these onboard shots. Meanwhile, the race leader is coming down to complete 8 laps at the end of this.
You saw him in first gear coming through the Melco hairpin, which is taken at 38 kilometres an hour. Bear in mind, on the way to Lisboa, they're at 255. That gives you an indication of how contrasting different parts of this circuit are. That makes it the unique challenge. Ugochukwu absolutely on the limit there. The car sliding underneath him as he comes up to the line. So Ugochukwu leads Goethe. The gap between the two, 9/10 of a second. Fastest lap of the race, Ugochukwu. Leon goes through third. Slater fourth, not staying with him. And again, look, Ugochukwu just tries to break the toe. Goethe wants to be in the wheel tracks. Speed building all the while. Through the right-hander of Mandarin they come. Pairing off a bit, aren't they? Third and fourth together, fifth and sixth together. Down to Lisboa. We're on lap number 9, and Ugochukwu is just about ahead in the first sector of the lap, though it is a slightly quicker Goethe, possibly because of the toe.
And Freddie Slater absolutely mirroring the third place car of Noel Leon on the run down towards Lisboa. Not surprisingly, fastest lap of the race on that last lap for Ugo with a 2:20.054. The advantage just under 1 second over Goethe as they completed 8 laps, 0.9 of a second to be exact. But this battle for third place, Noel Leon was trying to stay with Oliver Goethe. Now he has to keep the door very well and truly closed because Freddie Slater right in the wheel tracks.
That's true enough. So Slater fourth as Ugochukwu leads, and he's getting away. 4/10s pulled in the second of the 5 sectors alone. So now the confidence is there. He's able to push that little bit harder. And confidence breeds confidence, doesn't it? If you can see in your mirrors that the man that's chasing you is falling further back, that spurs you on even more. Leon hanging on a third, Slater fourth, and Deligny fifth might be drawing just a little bit nearer. But right now, Ugochukwu is just going purple, purple, all the way through the lap. Accelerates up towards Donna Maria. And we're on lap number 9 in this 15 laps, 71st Macau Grand Prix.
Hugging the barriers on the left-hand side as they go round Donna Maria up towards the Melco hairpin. They go once again. Ugo leads. Goethe is second. Leon is third. Slater is fourth. Single file they go through the Melco hairpin and down through Black Sands towards the final couple of turns on the gear circuit here in Macau. And they are going to complete 9 laps at the end of this lap. Freddie Slater a little bit further back. Noel Leon closing up on the back of second place Oliver Goethe.
Go along with that, so it's going to be the battle for second that will take up attention. Leon has done an absolute best sector 4, and Ugochukwu then leads, coming out of our bend up towards the timing line. So Ugo Ugochukwu leads the way. We've got one of the MP Motorsport cars there delayed, having possibly rubbed up against the wall, but the gap second to third is just half a second. Ugochukwu is 1.6 up the road. He's gone. He's on target now, barring a mistake, to be only the second ever American winner of the Grand Prix. But for second place, Goethe is now going to find himself under attack. Noel Leon in third, he goes through for the KCMG IXO by Pinnacle Motorsport team. He is going to be getting closer and closer to Goethe. He's got the toe. He goes to the outside, but there isn't really the room there. He can't make a move, but he is putting the pressure on. Confirmation that MP car, which I think was Valerio Rinicella, did hit the wall. Debris is on the track. And
perhaps most importantly for Noel Leon, he has shaken off the attention to Freddie Slater. A very different look at Lisboa this time for Noel Leon. He was previously on the last lap defending. This time he's very much attacking.
That was Rinicella into the barriers then, so that's where the debris came from. That's his Grand Prix done with the broken car. Slater, though, has just woken up in listening to you because he's done an absolute best in the second sector. He's coming back at Leon because he's being spurred on, maybe, with Danini closing up behind him. But Ugochukwu is just looking mighty right now. He's not going purple on this lap in sectors, but he is still looking very strong indeed. There's Goethe, there's Leon, that's second and third. Remember, everybody in the same car, but different teams operating them, so it's as level a playing field as you can make it. Turn right.
And this is what we've been asking for throughout the 4 days of the Macau Grand Prix. Some racing laps so they can get into a groove, do what they do. Once they do that and they don't get interrupted, we get this wonderful, wonderful waxing and waning of the gaps between first and second, second and third and fourth places. Ugo has put in again a fastest lap of the race of 2:19.8 on that previous lap. He's gone. There's a big gap. It was 1.6 seconds between himself and second place Oliver Goethe, and Oliver Goethe is doing his best to bring that down because he's just put in a purple overall best sector in sector 4. One more sector to go, on board with Dino Beganovic.
And Beganovic is still in 12th place. Murray Boyer is 13 from last on the grid. I know he had a few places gifted to him because of accidents on the opening lap, but he is absolutely charging. So Murray Boyer deserves a hat tip as the race leader. Ugo Ugochukwu has just gone across the timing line. And in second place, Oliver Goethe is now 1.5 seconds back. He has just done the fastest lap, Goethe, but he's only taken 2/10 out. It's not much, but it is a step in the right direction.
It's a little bit, and bearing in mind he's also got a very, very speedy Noel Leon behind in third place. That's pretty impressive stuff from Oliver Goethe in second place. Brought the gap down by 1/10 of a second to Ugo on that last lap. 1.5 seconds between the two of them. Watching Dino Beganovic making up a place, going wheel to wheel. This is tremendous stuff. And oh my goodness, how close do you want to be as you go into Lisboa? Tremendous racing.
There is a mechanical warning flag for Teofan Neal, and there is another stranded car. It's one of the Tom's entries, I fear. Yeah, Soto Ogawa for Team Grand Prix, in fact, has come to a halt. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, because that is on the circuit, and I'm worried that marshals aren't going to be allowed to go to that without the race being neutralised. So just when we thought we were in a rhythm, it looks like we might be in for another interruption and perhaps a one-lap dash to the flag. Let's have to wait and see. Ugochukwu leads then as he accelerates once more down through the Solitude S's. Oliver Goethe, having been a little bit quicker in sector 1, was fractionally quicker in sector 2 as well. His car sort of coming good late in the race. Does this tell us what happened? I think it's just bounced off the barrier, hasn't it, there? And so Ogawa pulls it to one side, but the car is going to be stranded.
Doing his very best job to keep it out of the way, get over to the right-hand side of the circuit, but not a great deal of drive behind that car. Oliver Goethe, to remind you, in second place with the fastest lap of the race on that previous lap, and the safety car is called for once again.
So that's our 5th affectation to the race, and we're almost an hour done as well. We've got 53 minutes of the race having elapsed. Ugo Ugochukwu brings the cars through. So I think we had, what, 2 full racing laps, maybe 3. But I'm afraid to say with a stranded car and the marshals needing to be allowed to go to it with the race neutralised rather than on live circuit. So the race has to be brought under the control there of the safety car, which is ready. And it shouldn't take long, should it? Surely. Once that safety car has gone by with the rest of the pack behind, marshals can get to the car, get it out of the way.
Oliver Goethe's restart after the safety car peeled off last time was the best so far in 2024. Let's see what can happen this time as, the stricken car just having the steering wheel popped back inside the cockpit, as is mandatory, so the marshals can move it. But Oliver Goethe getting better and better and better at staying with Ugo on the restart. Let's see what this restart is going to present to us.
Well, hopefully as well, that won't take long to get out of the way. There are lots of vehicle access points you can see in the background, so now that everybody has gone by, we should be able to get the nod to get that car out of the way. I'm slightly hopeful we might only need one safety car lap. We'll wait and see, but fingers crossed.
Let us wait and see what the pace is for the safety car on this, what did you say, fifth interruption for this race?
Well, we had a safety car start and then a red, a safety car restart, a safety car and a safety car. So our fifth intervention, if you like.
All in the space of the last 54 minutes to get the Macau Grand Prix for 2024 run under the sunshine here at Macau. On board with Tappinen once again. On board with that car it was in qualifying, wasn't it? When the car, we were enjoying this wonderful qualifying lap, which we then saw in a split second is brought to an end. When Macau bites, it bites hard. So it's been a recovery weekend for the remainder of the Macau Grand Prix for Tappinen. Got great speed, no question about that.
Teofar Nayal has been shown as having had a pit stop, so that's going to give Boganovic and Boyer and others a place. I didn't quite see why he pitted, whether he picked up some damage somewhere, possibly. But Teofar Nayal to the pit lane and back out again. He's shown as pit out, so he's left the pit road. So the field turns through, and it's this car down at the exit of turn 1 that's had a moment that needs removing, and then hopefully we can get things back underway. 4 laps to go, or by the end of this, 3 laps to go. So we're not really looking at much race duration to go. We're getting closer and closer to the checkered flag, but the officials will be working as rapidly as to get the road cleared. Tappinen accelerates through. You kind of wonder, don't you, whether 15 laps is enough, in a sense. I mean, yes, they are long laps, but because of the interruptions, you always want more.
We have been left wanting more quite a few times today around the gear circuit here at Macau. We were presented with the most beautiful GT3 race earlier on today. If you are watching online, on the Facebook page for Macau Grand Prix or on the YouTube channel, wherever you're watching, if you haven't seen it, it may well have been in the middle of the night over in the UK. I know there are plenty of motorsport fans that have got up nice and early on a Sunday morning to enjoy this Grand Prix. Have a little search for the GT Cup race, which took place earlier on here at Macau, because it left us absolutely breathless. My watch warns me about pulse rate and volume, and it went off and gave me both during the GT race. It was just superb.
And Ugo Ugochukwu is leading the Macau Grand Prix as we are behind the safety car once more. Downhill they come, and it's not coming in this time because the lights remain on. So we'll have the cars coming up towards the line. There is the car in question. It's got the little dollies underneath it to help wheel it off the circuit as swiftly as. How many marshals are there? A dozen plus, I would say, to try and get that car as quickly as it possibly can be done off the circuit.
Not easy to steer a race car on those little dollies. They've got 3 wheels on each of the dollies. I think it's 3, and they all want to go in their own direction. So when you try and do it too quickly, it kind of brings on a life of its own. So I think more haste, less speed for that car to get it to a place of safety.
The weaving in the background, Freddie Slater in the red and white Prema run, Theodore badged entry is to keep the tyre pressures up as much as the temperature in the tyres. Bits of debris being picked up, bit of sweeping completed, everything going over the wall to enable then the road to be clear. There's a crane hanging over there as well, ready to pick up the car. It's been sort of taken to the crane, to the hoist. And Alex Dunn here, running now in 8th place, ready to go through the left-hander of Reservoir, past the recovery operation. So we've got 3 laps to go. We're going to have 2 racing laps at best. past the incident zone. And there, just up the road on the right, you can see is the car. Marshals have fled for the moment, understandably, while the race cars go by, and as soon as the last one goes back past, then the instruction will be given. They can return to it, get it out of the way.
Wonderful noise to hear the bite of the engine when you get back onto the power of Alex Dunn's car, who was unlucky here at Macau, and hopefully this weekend is going to be reap a few more results for Alex Dunn. He was showing such good pace last year here at Macau, second in the qualification race, and then crashing out early in the Grand Prix itself. At the moment, running in 8th place, the car that we are on board with. And now you see another one of the weather problems, this bright sunshine, which is so now directly in their eyes. It goes completely dark here this time of year at Macau at about 6 o'clock when the circuit is closed and the roads open once again to the traffic of Macau. And if you're wondering, yes, it's very busy when the roads open up. It is pretty much a traffic jam around the circuit at Macau. It takes a little while to sort itself out, but they know exactly what they're doing to get the racing complete and the normal life of Macau back underway.
Talking of back underway, we're heading then through the second of the 5 sectors here. Alex Dunn at the wheel of the car, and a pit infringement has been noted for Théophile Néal. So he did pit, as I mentioned, and dropped down the order, and he did something untoward within the pit lane. So the stewards, who have been kept pretty busy over the weekend, will have a look at that and see whether a penalty is relevant or not. Safety car in this lap then, so 2 laps to take us to the end of the Macau Grand Prix, and let us pray that we do not get another interruption. We want to go racing, don't we? And even if it's only 2 laps effectively that we will have enjoyed to the end, it's worth enjoying on this fabulous circuit that has caught out so many this weekend.
It's most certainly will be a thrilling couple of laps. We get Ugo Ugachukwu, who has been blue perfect this weekend thus far on the restarts. Oliver Goethe nibbling away, keeping that gap closer and closer and closer on each of the restarts, and now he's going to really need to bring into play all of the skills that have been learnt about Ugo's restarts, because when the BMW peels off, we will be racing once again at Macau. 13 laps will be complete at the end of this lap. The BMW threads its way around the Melco hairpin, and now the process begins to get that final little bit of heat into the tyre, and then work out exactly when it's going to be that the pace increases at the front of the field for Ugo, and Oliver Goethe needs to pay very, very close attention on this restart. There we go, the final couple of wiggles.
And Ugachukwu pulls the pin any moment. Oops, drama in the background. 1 or 2, I think, have made contact with each other. There's a stranded car. We're going to go racing, but there was a bit of drama in the background. One into the back of another. Let us hope that that car is not going to be stranded on the circuit. We don't want another interruption, because the Macau Grand Prix is back underway. Ugo Ugachukwu leads them then up towards the timing line. Goethe is close, and there is a broken car. Please, please, please get to a place where the car can easily be moved or lift to the pit lane. We go racing with the margin being only 0.6 of a second. And you can see now, closer than ever is Goethe. He's got one last chance. This is the lifeline thrown to him. He's in the wheel tracks. He's in the tow as they come down to Lisboa. There is Leon third, Slater fourth, Deligny fifth. Ugachukwu still ahead, but only just. And everybody knowing this could be the last roll of the dice for them. Down to Lisboa. Covering off the inside line is Ugachukwu. Slater to the outside for third against Leon, and he can't quite do it, so Ugachukwu still leads.
Pressure, pressure, pressure on the race leader. Oliver Goethe got a great restart. He read that absolutely perfectly. He's had a few chances of doing this, and it has got closer and closer. And now we have the battle for the lead of the Macau Grand Prix for the 71st running of this great event. And Ugo Ugachukwu, really for the first time, has to pay very careful attention to the mirrors, with Oliver Goethe right there behind in his wheel tracks.
But he's just ever so slightly quicker in that second sector, just starting to build the gap a little bit further. But certainly pressure, because Ugochukwu has come so close to this victory now, with all of these interruptions just delaying the process, if you like. Oliver Goethe, who was 9th in the Grand Prix last year, hustling on behind the American as they drop once more down through Police, make the climb now up towards Murish. And Ugochukwu then turns his way up the hill. Goethe is not really dropping away, but likewise he's not being able to stay with him. He's got to have a good run out of Macau hairpin, because they're coming through to start the last lap of the Grand Prix.
Around the left-hand route, Donna Maria towards the Melco hairpin, single file as they enter the corner. Perfect line on the entry for Ugo, just straightens the car and the exit, avoiding the barrier on the outside of the corner. Very testing part of the circuit, but it sets you up for this run down towards the conclusion of the penultimate lap of the 71st Macau Grand Prix. Ugo leads in second place, it's Goethe. In third place, it's Leon.
2 tenths gain, 2 tenths gain, 2 tenths gain across the sectors. It is all going to add up nicely to give Ugochukwu a good lead as he comes up towards the start of the final lap. The American driver, Ugochukwu, leads onto the last lap. Goethe second, Leon third, and there's another broken car by the side of the road. That looks like Mattia Colnagi's car, but either way, as the leaders go through, we have got then Ugochukwu just ahead, and it's 1 second the margin. But it might all become academic, because if there's a car against the wall, we might end up going yellow to spoil the fun. Here they come, down towards Lisboa. Goethe is too far back to challenge, so it's all eyes on third place, where Slater has a look on the outside of Leon. Can't do it, makes the dive on the inside for third place. Slater, can he get the car stopped? No! Bang! Into the wall! Freddie Slater had one last roll of the dice, and from a possible hero, it's 0, because that is his done on the last lap.
Had to do it, had to try. The final lap, the last chance of asking down at Lisboa to take a step on the podium. He had been so close to Noel Leon race long, and there was no other opportunity bar that one to have a go.
So they know at our Ace GP that it's going to be a race win for Ugochukwu. He's far enough ahead of Goethe. Noel Leon briefly down to 4th, but he's got the place back. And so Deligny is going to be 4th, DePalo for 5th, and Rashid Al-Nahari for 6th place. But a really impressive drive in this race, in the qualifying race, in the qualifying sessions by Ugochukwu. Way back in 1981, Bob Earl was the American winner of the Macau Grand Prix. It's been a long wait in between for the next, but what a drive by Ugochukwu.
It is not over until it's over. You've got to keep everything absolutely neat and tidy. And bear in mind as well, we've got that car still on the circuit, so you need to observe the yellow flags on the run down towards that incident zone as Ugo makes his way through the Melco hairpin. So too does Oliver Goethe, so too does Noel Leon in third place, and the indication on the board, safety car.
That means everybody has to slow. It means you don't need to sort of neutralise the race, but it prevents anybody from arriving here too quickly on the last lap. So the safety car isn't really going to be needed, but we're under safety car conditions. It means they will slow on the run to the checkered flag, and the safety car board is there. That just takes away the peril of the last corner. It means they're going to be closer than ever, but with no overtaking permitted. The Macau Grand Prix winner for 2024 is Ugochukwu. A really impressive drive. Ugochukwu wins the Macau Grand Prix. Oliver Goethe second, and Noel Leon in third.
What a moment. You win the Macau Grand Prix. The delight, you know you've done something that puts you in the history books in one of the greatest motor races anywhere on the planet. Ugo has done it. He's taken the checkered flag. It has been a superlative weekend. It has been pluperfect. Every time he was asked a question, he was able to deliver. And the team, quite rightly, congratulate themselves down in pit lane. What a race. That's the delight, as you can see the team celebrating down in pit lane. Ugo will get that moment. They head their way through Lisboa on towards San Francisco. The huge crowds, that grandstand just on the approach to Lisboa is immense. It is absolutely packed with fans, and they will have enjoyed the battle that they have just seen, as indeed the team have as well. Celebrations aplenty down in pit lane, and we will very shortly see the marshals offering their appreciation as well for Ugo. He's written himself into the history books here at Macau. The gear circuit is conquered for the young American driver, and pride for the nation, pride for himself, and pride for the team as well.
Great win for RHGP, which I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying is its first at Macau, because it's not really been a Formula 3 team as such. So RACE taking a first win. Ugo Ugochukwu likewise, of course. Oliver Goethe, 9th last year, 2nd this. And Noel Leon, who was always there or thereabouts, but never quite able to get close enough, was he? Last year's Euro Formula Open champion, the Mexican, finishing in 3rd place. So Ugochukwu comes here on the back of being 11th in the European Formula Regional Championship, 7th in the European, 13th in GB3, but now he is Macau Grand Prix winner. This is what happened to Slater, look, gets the toe, dives to the inside, but it's just too late. He's never going to slow that car down in time, and bang, off he goes. Look at the 11s he leaves on the road. He knew it was all wrong, stood on the brakes, but it was only going in one direction.
And no one will ever accuse him of not having a go.
No, true enough. Very true. So the drivers will make their way down the podium. Yeah, no one remembers the guy that came 4th, but in the end he didn't come anywhere, sad to say, because he won't be in the results, having not taken the checkered flag. But the race winner is Ugo Ugochukwu, and people are taking notice of that name already. Of course, he's a McLaren junior driver, and that's going to enhance his reputation even further. Yet again, it's a much interrupted and bitty Macau Grand Prix, but quality shines through.
It most certainly does, and Ugo has not put a wheel wrong this weekend. Absolutely superb.
That was a big hit, wasn't it, from Colnaghi? Really big whack coming out of that right-hander of Fisherman's. So 2nd of the MP Motorsport cars that have hit the wall. The 3rd one survived, probably because it's not painted orange. It's the Red Bull livery of Oliver Goethe. So if you paint it orange, it seems to gravitate to the wall. But paint it Red Bull colours, and you go much better.
I had a surreal moment in commentating from a podium for the British F4 Championship a couple of years ago, when Ugo took the top step of a podium in the British F4 Championship, certified by FIA, and I looked out into the crowd and saw a familiar face holding an iPhone and videoing the whole process with a big broad smile on his face. Zach Brown was the cameraman when Ugo took the top step of the podium. Zach won't be here this weekend, but for sure he'll be watching this and very proud of the young McLaren driver.
And I suspect that with a Las Vegas Grand Prix in a week's time, Ugo Ugochukwu may well be there, if his calendar allows, to soak in the glory of this and to reinforce that reputation. There is your Macau Grand Prix winner, a delighted Ugo Ugochukwu.
A picture paints 1,000 words in Parc Fermé, doesn't it? The absolute elation and the relief for the teams. It's not just this one race. It has been a long 4 days to get to this point, and a huge amount of work, not just by the driver, but all the team as well. All of the teams up and down the pit lane. But Ugo is going to take all the applause on the top step of the podium. Weigh in, first of all, and then on the way to the podium presentation for the 71st Macau Grand Prix. Every year, Macau delivers. Absolutely superb.
And it's delivered again, hasn't it? So for the RHGP team, Ugo Ugochukwu the winner. For MP Motorsport, Oliver Goethe 2nd. And for the KCMG IXO by Pinnacle Motorsport squad, 3rd Noel Leon. After that, it was Enzo Deligny 4th from Matteo De Palo, and Rashid Deheri in 6th place. 7th Cooper Webster from Alex Dunn and Mari Boyer, with Dino Maganovic rounding out the top 10. Alexander Abkazova worked his way up from near the back of the grid. Don't forget, Boyer 9th was 27th on the grid, last of all. Quite something, that. Abkazova 11th, Tuka Tapanen 12th ahead of Valerio Rinicella. Teofil Neal 14th, but under investigation. 15th, Rikuta Kobayashi. And that was it. just over half the field made it to the end, because that long, long list of retirements, look, stretches for the next page and a half of the graphic.
So drivers will weigh in, the world's press will assemble on the plinth on the pit wall just opposite this huge podium which was introduced last year, and a chance to look back at the 71st Macau Grand Prix.
Delighted scenes at our Ace GP. There is the Macau Grand Prix winner, the first ever FIA FR World Cup winner too. Ugo Ugochukwu is victorious here on the streets of Macau, and since Bob Earl in 1981 we've not had an American winner until today, so bravo Ugo Ugochukwu. Oliver Goethe taking second place, the German licensed driver, no Leon the Mexican, the only palindrome on the grid, finishing third. From Enzo Deligny, Matteo De Paolo and Rashid Al-Daheri. Well, I think we always feared it was going to be a little bit interrupted, mirroring what we'd had across practice and qualifying, but when they were going well and giving us plenty to talk about, and it will be a delighted winning driver of Ugo Ugochukwu who will be on that top step of the podium shortly. The drivers have gone through that post-race technical aspect where of course the cars will be looked at, but as you've seen the drivers are weighed as well. The podium, the backdrop currently still the big screen, so the fans in the grandstand opposite watching the podium backdrop are seeing what you're seeing as well, and in a moment the doors will open, the organisers of the podium will step forward, so too will the dignitaries, and it's not quite the end of the day for the drivers and the teams, because the prize giving at the Macau Grand Prix is mandatory for drivers and teams. So the trophies they are awarded with on the podium, they sort of give back and then are given again at the prize giving this evening. It's always another feature of this invitation-only event that celebrates its 71st running. And for third place, the KCMG squad, the Hong Kong-based team, MP Motorsport, the Dutch team, taking second place. And the R-Ace GP squad ready to celebrate a race win. The big screen on the podium has now changed picture. It is the backdrop for the Macau Grand Prix with the various sponsors and affiliated bodies represented. There they all are, their logos, and that means that in a few moments' time we'll be able to cross to the podium and the presentation will be conducted for the winning drivers, the winning team, and even if you're only third, there's still plenty to celebrate because that's a very good result at Macau. And just also to make the point that in accordance with local law, the Macau Grand Prix Organising Committee has provided non-alcoholic champagne for this podium celebration. The podium awaits and all eyes are on it. Any moment the doors will burst open, I promise, with the organising party. There's Enzo Deligny, gifted fourth place on that last lap, and describing what he saw ahead of him with Freddie Slater's car. The very, very tall Enzo Deligny taking fourth position. Murray Boyer ninth from the back of the grid. I still think he's quite a remarkable effort as well. The dignitaries from the main grandstand making their way across the circuit. Mr. Hoyat saying, waving and thanking the marshals on that start line gantry as well as he leaves the circuit. So Ugo Ugochukwu, Oliver Goethe and Noah Leon are the drivers that we will have to the podium. And some frustration, for others delight. The other R8 drivers are 4th and 12th. Justine Tukatapinen, he was 12th, and 4th Enzo Delini. So mixed fortunes for the team, but a race win, which is the best result of all. And for many of them, it will be another season of FR racing, starting in the early part of next year in the Middle East. For some, it'll be a full season, maybe in Europe. Others may move on and up to Formula 2 or maybe Formula 3. Lots of single-seater racing on offer, but I'll pretty much put money on the board that there will be a number of these drivers this year back on the grid next, because they want to conquer Macau. Whether Ugo Ugochukwu comes to defend will be quite fascinating, wouldn't it? But you never know how his career is going to take off on the back of this victory today. And the fastest lap of the race also set towards the end on the last lap, in fact. The penultimate lap was Oliver Goethe. So in that big push to try to get onto terms and challenge for the lead, Goethe taking the fastest lap. That's probably about the only blot, really, on Ugochukwu's day. He didn't quite get the full set of pole, the win and the fastest lap, but hey, he won it.
Never mind.
As always next year, yeah.
Must try harder.
Quite. But really, really impressive. And again, just as I said during the course of the race, what he'd achieved in different championships over the year didn't really say winner.
No.
But the way that he's driven all weekend has. So much of it down to qualifying, and so much of it actually in qualifying because of the stoppages, down to where you are relative to a red flag. And a lot of that's being at the far end of the pit lane. So get a low race number and you let out early. That also pays dividends. We saw in one qualifying session, Prima lagging back to get clear track space, but then they didn't get a lap in before the red flag, and then the weather deteriorated and all conspired against that squad. So there is a huge lottery element to much of life in Macau with all the casinos, and the same is true really of the Grand Prix itself.
So much of it is experience. So young drivers that have experienced the Macau circuit for the first time this year have done so with a huge amount of difference between the track conditions and everything the weather has thrown at us, but they have learnt the circuit. They know what the gear circuit at Macau is all about in every possible weather condition. And you can be sure that so many of these young drivers that have experienced it for the first time this year will do what Ugo has done, to learn the circuit, to learn the weekend, to know what to expect, and to come back and hopefully to conquer.
So there is the winning car. The McLaren logos on the side, the doors open on the podium, and that means that the podium announcer is ready, that the team in charge of getting the trophies, the dignitaries, the drivers, all there will be ready as well. We may get a chance to hear from the drivers as well. There is always a post-race press conference as well, which we may well be able to bring you as well. But for now, the cameras are trained on the podium, and once everybody is ready, the signal will be given, and we can cross live to the podium. So you can see just through the doorway, lots and lots of people milling around to make sure that you have everybody. Not the work of a moment. Their third place car and the second place car, Noah Leon and Oliver Goethe's Tatius built chassis, modern single seaters. You see the halo there, an absolute must these days for contemporary, for relevant single seater racing cars, and proved the worth many times over. Already the track work is going on to open up the roads. Some of the circuit vehicles going in either direction, quickly to take down the barriers that can be, to open the gates, to get the traffic flowing as soon as. The roads have to be open by 6 o'clock. If they can be open sooner, they will. So straight away, people go to work. The coaches are on the track to go and collect the marshals, bring them back to HQ. And it's going to be a busy period all round in Macau for the next few hours, as the Grand Prix comes to a close for the 71st time. And just like last year, one of the big thumbs up, again, has been the number of international visitors, of course. When it was very much a local event during COVID, it was just not possible, really, to have so much international attention, so many international visitors. And last year and this, the local organisers, the local businesses, all delighted to see
Ladies and
people come from all over the world.
Welcome
Let's go
to the
podium for the 71st Macau Grand
ceremony
Prix.
of the 71st Macau Grand Prix, Macau Grand Prix FIA-FR World Cup. So now let's welcome the winning drivers to the podium. The winner is number 4, Ugu Chuku from the USA.
Congratulations!
First runner-up, number 1, Oliver Gotta from the Germany. On second runner-up, number 7, Noel Leon from Mexico.
Felicidades!
Congratulations. And the winning team is RHGP. Let's welcome the representative, Mr. Benjamin Squirt. Welcome. Congratulations. And now it's time for the national anthem.
Thank you. 現在敦請澳門特別行政區行政長官賀一誠閣下為我哋各位獲獎車手頒獎。May we now invite Mr. Ho Yat-seng, Chief Executive of the Macau Special Administrative Region, to present the laurels and trophies to our winning drivers. First, number 4, Ugu Chuku from USA. Congratulations! And to our first runner-up, number 1, Oliver Gotta from Germany. And our second runner-up, number 7, Noel Leon. Muchas felicidades. And also to our winning team, RHGP. Congratulations. May we now invite our Chief Executive, Your Excellency, to join us for a group photo. 有請長官閣下移步到中間，與咁多位獲獎車手合照留念。
Please look to the front at the cameras. Please look to the front. 我哋一齊望向前方嘅位置影張合照啦。
請長官閣下留步。And now, please welcome the representatives of 4 major sponsors, including Galaxy Entertainment Group, Sense China, SJM Resorts SA, and MGM China, to join us for one more photo together.
And to all our drivers, please remain on your podium and please look to the front at the media zone's camera as well.
Okay, all right, let's take one more photo together for these wonderful and spectacular moments. 請各位望向前方，我哋再嚟一張嘅合照。Thank you, and now please welcome the 2 premium sponsors, Wynn Macau and Macau Resorts and Entertainment, to join us for one more photograph. 好事成雙，我哋再邀請另外2個本屆特級贊助商代表，共同再嚟一張合照。請各位。
All our drivers, please continue to look to the front at the media zone's camera as well.
感謝長官閣下，亦都多謝各位嘉賓，請各位移步稍作休息。多謝各位。
All the winning drivers, please remain at your current positions. Please remain at your current positions on the podium, please. Thank you, our esteemed guests. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for gracing us with your support and presence. Thank you.
And now we're going to present the trophy by FIA. Would all the drivers please remain on podium and to receive the following trophies. And now may we invite Mr. Emanuele Pillo, the FIA Single-Seater Commission President, to present the trophy to our winner, number 4, Ugu Chuku.
From the USA, congratulations.
And the trophy to the winning team representative, RHGP. Congratulations. All right, please remain at the center for a group photo together, please. Mr. Pillar, please remain at the center. Thank you. And once again, please look to the front at the cameras at Media Zone. Show us your brightest smile. Thank you. Thank you very much. Drivers, please again remain on podium. And I'll thank our presenter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Biru. Thank you.
And now it's time for celebration. I would like to invite our drivers to hold the champagne for another group photo, please. And in accordance with local law, the Macau Grand Prix Committee have provided the non-alcoholic champagne for this podium celebration. And we would like to invite the drivers to just hold the champagne for another group photo, please.
我哋邀請咁多位獲獎車手，我哋手持呢一個不含酒精嘅香檳，再面向鏡頭嚟到一張合照。Please look to the front. One more photo holding our champagne together.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please remain as I would like to invite Chris to have a quick interview with all of you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Janice. Noel, quick word before you go. Well done on the podium. That's a fantastic achievement. In a one-off race like this, when you're in third place, it can be a bit scary because you know the guy in fourth is probably going to have a go, and that's exactly what happened. Talk us through that moment with Freddie at turn 3.
Yeah, obviously it's super tricky. You are in the last spot of the podium, so the guy for sure is going to send it. I knew it. Yeah, I leave a car of space, but it was damp inside. So as soon as he went for it, he locked up and he went straight. So yeah, quite a smart move from my side. But yeah, really happy to finish on the podium here in Macau.
Enjoyed Macau despite the weather and all the challenges?
Yeah, it was a really tricky weekend, to be honest. We have all type of weather conditions this weekend. This track in the wet and in the dry is just so special. So yeah, thanks for the team for the great job, and yeah, we'll try next time.
Well done, Noel. Second place, runner-up, a great achievement as well. I know you would have wanted to win, Oliver, but it was so tricky, I guess, to try and find the perfect sweet spot with the setup this weekend. A bit of a guessing game, and you also didn't get as many laps as you would have liked in that race to try and find a way through.
Yeah, for sure. We didn't get many dry laps in general in the weekend, so it was tricky to find the perfect setup and to get in the perfect rhythm driving-wise. I was struggling on the restarts to stay very close. The dirty air effect was really strong, and I was struggling to get the tires in for the first lap. Then after, when the race went on, I feel like once I got into rhythm, I was starting to catch him a bit, but then there was, so many safety cars, and on the last restart, I was quite close, but not close enough to make the move. Of course, I would have loved to win, but there's always the next time.
Well, you should be very proud. It was a great effort, Oliver. Well done to you. Here we go. Fantastic. Let me take you back 2.5 years. Your 15th birthday, Donington Park. You're just old enough to race a single-seater. You stick it on pole position in British F4. If I told you then, in 2.5 years' time, you're going to win the Macau Grand Prix, would you have believed me?
Yeah, it's amazing feeling, race everyone wants to win. The weekend went perfectly, really. Topped Q2, won the quali race. But yeah, we had one more step to do, which would win the main race. And yeah, we've done it, so job done. I want to thank the whole RAce GP team. The car's been perfect all weekend. And yeah, super happy to come out on top.
And you absolutely nailed every restart this weekend. 3 in that race, 1 yesterday. You got that spot on.
Yeah, my goal was to make as big of a gap as possible and push the last 2 corners. As the slipstream is really big, and I managed to do that quite well. Managed to keep the others behind, and then just push as much as I could through the rest of the lap to create a bit of a gap.
And only the second winner from America, the first one in 43 years. What a feeling. Hugo, you're the World Cup winner. Well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, amazing feeling. Thank you.
Give a big cheer, your winner, Hugo Chukwu.
Bravo, thank you so much, and thank you, Chris. Once again, congratulations to all winning drivers.
Thank you, and ladies and gentlemen, this perfectly wrapped the 71st Macau Grand Prix. Congratulations once again to all the drivers and riders. Thank you so much for showing us your resilience, persistence, and power. See you again next
was the 71st Macau Grand Prix. It was a race full of drama, and it's been another race that has shown the talent of a young driver. Ugo Ugachukwu is the Macau Grand Prix winner, the first FIA FR World Cup winner from Alan Hyde and David Addison. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the race winners press conference for the Macau Grand Prix FIA FR World Cup. We have our top 3 race finishers here today. Our winner, Ugo Ugachukwu. Second place, Oliver Goethe. Third place, Noel Leon. And our team representative from RACE GP, Benjamin Schmidt. Congratulations to all 4 of you.
歡迎大家嚟到澳門格蘭披治大賽國際汽聯 Fr 世界盃正賽嘅賽後記者會。首先，我哋恭喜台上面嘅3位車手，佢哋分別係第1名嘅烏高卓古、第2名嘅高德同埋第3名嘅李昂。另外咧，冠軍車隊 RACE GP 嘅車隊代表都喺度嘅。
Ugo, probably the biggest single motor race victory of your career so far. The first American winner, I think, since 1981 when Bob Earl won. What's the feeling standing up here this evening?
Yeah, can't describe the feeling. Of course, super happy. Was quite a tricky race. Was pushing the whole way, but I was confident in the pace. Ever since Q2, we've been really quick. Of course, won the quali race as well, but there was still one more thing to do, which is win the main race, which of course is the most important one, and we managed to do it. So, yeah, super happy. Can't thank the RACE GP team enough. Yeah, we had a great weekend, and yeah, super happy to finally get the job done.
首先，冠軍車手烏高卓古就同我哋分享啦，其實佢今個比賽週末都非常之開心啦。其實喺正賽裏邊呢場賽事的確都非常之艱巨嘅，但係好慶幸啦，可以以冠軍嘅姿態完賽啦，好多謝車隊。
I think the most critical element of that race was the 4 safety car restarts. You had to do it 4 times to get away. Seemed you had a different tactic to everybody else, trying to get more heat into the tyres and attacking. How were those kind of 4 things, and how hard was the final one? Because I think you had to do it slightly differently to the previous ones.
Yeah, every safety car restart I had to make sure I got it perfectly. Otherwise, with the slipstream, I would have had to be really defensive into the first braking zone. So that was my full focus, getting good restarts, and then just nailing the last 2 corners to give myself a bit of a gap. Yeah, every time I saw a safety car, I was like, oh, again, because yeah, my gap got cut back to 0. But no, managed to stay in the lead every time, which was really good. And then yeah, just pushing as hard as I could through the rest of the lap. Definitely got close to some walls, but yeah, I managed to keep it together and just yeah, take the win. Super happy.
而佢亦都有補充啦，其實每一次喺安全車出事嘅時候咧，佢都心諗之前同後車保持嘅距離咧有一次作廢啦，但係佢好慶幸咧自己每一次嘅起步都做得唔錯啦。咁之後佢就保持專注，不停咁樣喺每一圈嘅最後嗰幾圈咧，努力去同後車保持翻一個拉開嗰個距離啦，然之後可以保持喺排第1嘅狀態。咁其實喺過程當中咧，佢有幾次咧都差一啲撞埋喺護欄度嘅，但係好彩佢最後冇事啦，然後攞到賽事嘅冠軍。
Oliver, talking about those safety car restarts, each 4, I think every time you're 1/10 closer each time, so you're obviously kind of learning and building experience. How were those cars in that initial lap? Because it seemed you struggled to kind of get the tyres up to temperature perhaps as much as Ugo.
Yeah, for sure. They were difficult. Ugo did a great job with the restarts. Yeah, every time I got a bit closer, especially at the end, I was almost close enough to make a move. But yeah, I was just struggling mainly with dirty air in the last couple corners and the rest of the track. And yeah, with the tyre warm-up, I feel like yeah, my tyres took a bit too long. I was trying to heat them as much as possible during the safety cars. But yeah, I was just struggling to stay really close at the restart. I think once I got into rhythm, when the tyres were warm after a few laps at the start, when we had maybe 4 laps of running in a row, I feel like I was starting to get in a really good rhythm, and I think I started to catch Ugo a bit. So yeah, who knows how the race would have gone without safety cars, but yeah.
而亞軍得主哥德咧，亦同我哋分享咧，其實佢喺比賽過程當中咧，有幾次同前車都非常之接近，幾乎咧可以作出呢個超車嘅動作啦。咁但係只可惜啦，因為佢跟喺前車後邊咧，其實嗰個空氣都唔係咁清透啦，咁佢睇唔到前路啦。咁加上咧，其實佢輪胎嘅嗰個溫度咧，一直都未如理想嘅。每一次咧喺提升到胎溫去理想位置嘅時候，又因為安全車嘅帶領啦，而導致需要喺安全車嘅時候咧，更加努力咁樣去保持翻個溫度。但係總括而言咧，都非常之開心去攞第2位嘅。
You just missed out on the win this weekend, but are you satisfied with the kind of the job you did this weekend and happy that you came back to Macau for this kind of extreme challenge?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bittersweet feeling. Of course, I really wanted to win this weekend. I had it in me to win. It came down to, the 100th from qualifying, maybe that decided the weekend. And full credit to Ugo. He did a great job, and I hope to be here again.
而佢亦都有補充咧，其實喺今個比賽週末裏邊咧，佢一直都好想可以贏啦，尤其是喺排位賽裏邊，其實佢都做得唔錯啦。但係都好恭喜對手啦，因為烏高卓夫都真係做得非常之好，佢期待下一年再翻嚟參加比賽。
No, congratulations on third place, but quite a tricky, challenging race for you because not only were you trying to focus on the cars ahead, but you got a lot of pressure from behind as well.
Yeah, obviously you are at the last spot on the podium, so everybody wants to send it to be on the podium, So it was a tricky race, especially for me in the last 2 corners. I was having a lot of so yeah, it was super difficult, but no, super happy to finish in the podium here in Macau.
而季軍車手李昂咧都表示，其實咧佢喺成個比賽過程當中，因為佢一直佔據嘅位置其實係頒獎台嘅最後一席啦，所以其實大家咧都非常之希望咧可以超越佢成為頒獎台上嘅一員嘅，所以就有成個比賽過程當中都有幾輪嘅爭位戰啦，尤其是係喺每圈嘅最後嗰幾個彎位啦，所以成個比賽過程當中對佢嚟講都非常之艱巨嘅，但係佢都好開心自己可以守到個位。
And can you just talk us through that last lap moment with Freddie when he came attacking you down in the inside of Lisboa? It looked like he briefly got through, but braked too late and ran off.
Yeah, I knew he was going to do something crazy because obviously the last lap and he's kind of decide after turn 3 who's going to be in the podium, So yeah, I knew he was going to send it. I leave a car to the inside, but the half of the car was in the damp condition, so as soon as he sent it, he locked up and he went straight. So yeah, it was a little bit tricky, really stressful moments before going to T3, but we managed to get it.
而佢都有補充到咧，其實頭先我哋見到最後一圈咧，佢同對手之間咧都非常之激烈嘅，咁直至到去第3彎啦。咁因為咧佢其實喺過程當中咧都已經知道對手咧即將會向佢發動攻勢啦，所以佢都好努力咁樣保住自己個位嘅。
And Benjamin, congratulations, first Macau win for your team. A, how does that feel? And B, can you talk about the job that Ugo's done this weekend to dominate this event?
Yeah, to be fair, it's a bit unreal to be here alongside Ugo. We did an amazing job this weekend. I think the whole team was dreaming about winning here in Macau. We knew it was not an easy task, especially alongside teams who had the experience from the past years, especially with the old car. So we were lacking a bit of knowledge from Macau, but I think it was all about having good preparation at the workshop and with the drivers, and I think it's exactly what we did, and it paid off.
而車隊代表咧，亦都表示好開心啦，可以嚟到澳門啦，覺得自己嘅團隊啦、車隊啦同埋車手都做得非常之好啦。其實成個車隊咧一直以嚟都好想喺澳門贏出嘅，咁但係佢亦都知道非常之唔容易啦，因為其實其他車隊咧都非常之有經驗啦，加上佢哋駕駛嘅係一架舊車，所以其實數據都非常之足夠啦。但係佢認為咧，只要有足夠嘅準備，加上車手表現得好咧，就可以攞到冠軍啦。
Okay, any questions from the floor?
現場開放傳媒朋友問問題。
All good. Congratulations. Thank you very much. And if we can do another photograph, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, okay, okay.